Good evening, my dear children of class 9. Welcome back to your video where we have been dealing with MOV Merchant of Venice by Shakespeare. And in the last video, we had completed till Act 2, Scene 6. And today we shall be moving ahead with Act 2, Scene 7. So in contrast to the preceding scene, in this scene what we see is now we have another, in this scene, Act 2, Scene 6, we have another colorful and theatrical spectacle of yet another suitor who has come to try out his hand in order to outwit the fortune and win Portia as his bride. So, and this suitor, this rich suitor is Morocco. We had already seen and discussed in the last previous scene where we were introduced to Morocco, and now in this scene, in this particular scene, we see Morocco trying to challenge. He has accepted the challenge posed by Portia's father, and that is to choose the correct casket out of the three caskets, namely gold, silver, and lead casket. So now what happens? Let's see in this scene. Now we begin with Act 2, Scene 7, Belmont Hall in Portia's house. Flourish of cornets. Now there is this band of music that's being played as they enter the room where the three caskets have been set. Enter Portia with the Prince of Morocco and their trains. Trains here refers to their train of servants. Then what happens is Portia, go draw the curtain, draw aside the curtain and discover. Discover means reveal. The several here means the different caskets to this noble prince. So she commands one of her servants to escort the Prince of Morocco by drawing the curtain that had enclosed the three caskets, the three different caskets. So she orders her servant, and now make your choice. So then she turns towards Morocco and says, Prince, now please make your choice. Servants draw back the curtains and reveal the caskets, and the servants do as she commands. Morocco examines the caskets. So he now is there standing in front of all those three caskets, and he inspects those caskets very, very closely. And what does he see? The first of gold, who this inscription bears, who chooseth me shall gain what many men desire. So he comes across the first casket that he comes across is the gold casket, on which there was this inscription embedded on it, inscribed on it, which read, who chooseth me shall get what many men desire. So he's inspecting, he's examining those the inscriptions inscribed on those caskets. Then the second, silver, which this promise carries, who chooseth me shall get as much as he deserves. So he reads the second casket, which says that he who chooseth me shall get what he deserves. The third, dull lead, with warning all as blunt. Blunt means plain, straightforward. So the inscription inscribed on the lead casket was quite a threatening one. Not a very good one, not a very pleasing one, nor an appealing one. So the third, dull lead, with warning all as blunt. Who chooseth me must give and hazard. Hazard means risk. Must give and hazard all he hath, which means that whoever chooses me, that is the lead casket, will have to risk everything that he has. How shall I know if I do choose the right? How shall I know? How will I know whether what casket I shall be choosing, whether the casket that I shall decide to choose is the correct casket or not? How will I know that? So he ponders and he starts examining and he starts, thinking and pondering and speculates the inscriptions that has been inscribed on those caskets. Then Portia, she says, The one of them contains my picture, Prince. If you choose that, then I am yours with all. So, Portia, out here we must remember that, Portia is totally aware of the casket in which her portrait has been hidden. She is totally unaware, nor do the audiences do they know about the secret behind the casket that held her portrait. She is totally unaware. So that we should remember. So she says that one of the casket of the three caskets contains my picture, and you are supposed to choose the one with my picture, and if you happen to choose the one with my picture in it, you will win my hand. So I am yours with all means along with the portrait that you get in the correct casket, along with that I'll be yours if you choose the correct casket. Then Morocco. Some God direct my judgment. So now he's seeking God's help. So he's requesting, he's pleading for God's help because he does not know which casket is the right one. And he says, some God direct means guide my judgment, guide me in choosing the correct casket. So then let me see. Then again, once again, he goes back. Once again, he wants to re-examine, re-inspect those caskets. And then I will survey the inscriptions back again. So let me re-examine and I will reread the inscriptions back again. What says the leaden casket? What says the leaden casket? The lead casket, who chooseth me must give and has it all he hath. So he who chooses me will have to risk everything that he has. Must give means must risk. For what? For lead? Has it for lead? So he's mocking this lead casket, the inscription on the lead casket. What do you want me to risk everything for? For lead, a cheap metal like lead, do I have to risk my everything? That too for lead? For a cheap material like lead? So this casket threatens, and moreover, he first and foremost, he does not like the very material, the metal with which that casket was made, which was very cheap. It is made up of a very cheap metal, that is lead casket. So that he does not like it. We can see that he disapproves of it. And not just that, he says this casket threatens, and even the inscription on it is a threatening one, because it says that whoever chooses me will have to risk everything that he has. Men that has it all means risk their all, risk their everything. Men that has it all do it in hope of fair advantages. So what he is trying to debate by reading those inscriptions, he's debating, and especially the inscription written on the lead casket, he's debating by saying that only those men, what they do is they risk their everything in the hope of fair advantage, in the hope of gaining back riches in return. So if they feel that they are going to gain riches in return, then they will surely risk their everything. A golden mind stoops not to shows of dross. A golden mind stoops not means a mind of high quality is not deceived by worthless show. That's what he says. To the shows of dross. Shows of dross means worthless shows. So a man who carries a mind with high quality, high wisdom, will not be deceived by such worthless things. I'll then not give nor has it aught for lead. So he rejects the lead casket. I will not do anything. I'll not risk my everything for a cheap casket like lead. What says then he moves on to the silver casket. What says the silver with her virgin hue? Virgin hue means he's referring to the color of the casket, the silver casket, which is white colored. Who chooseth me shall get as much as he deserves. As much as he deserves. Pause there, Morocco. Pause there, Morocco, and weigh thy value. Weigh means analyze. Thy value means weigh your own merit. He's telling himself, so here he pauses he asks himself to pause for a moment. So in a way, this is when he does that, he even prolongs the suspense of the dramatic moment out here in this scene. So that's what he does when he does make a pause out here and starts examining himself after reading this inscription inscribed on the silver casket, which says that he who chooses me shall get what he deserves. So he tells himself, weigh thy value with an even hand. Even hand means impartial consideration, without being biased, without being favorable towards one or the other. So even hand, if thou beest rated, that means if you are to be judged. He's telling himself, if you are to be judged, if I am to be judged, by thy estimation, by my own estimation, thou dost deserve enough. So he's talking about himself, and he says that he reflects upon himself as a kind of person he is, and he says that if I have to weigh my own estimation, if I have to weigh my own merits, I feel that according to the merit that I have, I deserve enough. I deserve more than enough. But here there is a sense of doubt that seeps inside him, where he says, and yet enough may not extend so far as to the lady, and yet to be afeard of my deserving were but a weak disabling of myself, a weak disabling. So he says that although if I have to evaluate my own merit, my own quality, the value that I hold, I deserve enough. I deserve everything, and in fact, I deserve enough. But if I have to rate my merit, my estimation, if I have to, if I have to rate the value of my estimation in front of the lady's high estimation, then I might not be enough. So here what we see is, for a moment, for a spur of a moment, Morocco, he doubts his own merit. But very soon, what does he say? He tries to, boost his confidence himself, by saying that, and yet to be afeard of my deserving, and yet to doubt my own merit, yet to fear my merit, that it is lower, it is not enough for Portia, itself were but a weak disabling of myself. It shows a weakness working against my chances to win Portia's hand. So it's a kind of weakness that I'm showing, which I must not show. So he immediately brings himself up, and then he says, as much as I deserve. Why, that's the lady. So now what he says, he finally, after having brought back his confidence, after having brought down his doubt against himself, he says, why, obviously I do deserve the lady. I do in birth deserve her, in birth, because he is from a noble family, from a royal family. I do deserve in birth and in fortunes. In fortunes means in riches, in graces, and in qualities of breeding. But more than these, in love I do deserve. Yes, in every aspect I do deserve. I deserve her in terms of birth, in terms of fortune, in terms of graces, and in qualities, and in breeding, the way I have been brought up. I deserve her equally, and equally I do deserve her in love, because I love her. That is what he says out here. Then, but more than these, in love I do deserve. What if I strayed no further? Strayed means what if I do not wander away? Means instead of going ahead with another casket, instead of trying to re-examine other casket, why do I not choose this casket? For a moment he feels like choosing that casket, for he feels he deserves Portia. What if I strayed no further but choose here? If I choose, what if I choose? The silver casket. Let's see once more this saying graved in gold. But even then, he's quite curious, and he wants to read the inscription on the gold casket. And he says, let's see once more the saying, the inscription engraved in the gold casket. Who chooseth me shall gain what many men desire. So he goes to the gold casket and reads the inscription, which says, who chooseth me shall gain what many men desire. So why, that's the lady. Obviously it's the lady whom many men they desire. All the world desire her from the four corners of the earth, means from all the corners of the nook and crannies of the world. People, men, they desire her from the four corners of the earth. They come to kiss this shrine. So he has compared Belmont as a shrine, where Portia is compared to a saint in human form. And he says, they come from the four corners of the earth. They come to kiss this shrine, this mortal breathing saint. And who is this mortal breathing saint? He compares this Portia to the mortal breathing saint, which means saint in human form. So the Hyrcanian deserts and the vasty wilds of wide Arabia are as thoroughfares now. Thoroughfares means highways. So people from all over the world, they are so curious to see and see fair Portia, fair beautiful Portia, that those routes like the Hyrcanian deserts and the vasty wide deserts of Arabia, these routes which were regarded as the most dangerous routes, where people they rarely opted to travel through, have now become a thoroughfare, have now become like a highway for them, because people they keep traveling. And why do they keep traveling? In order to see the fair Portia from Belmont. For princes to come view fair Portia, the watery kingdom, that is the sea, the water world, whose ambitious head, that is ambitious head means the waves, the high waves and high tides, whose ambitious head spits in the face of heaven, is so the tide and the waves that are so high that almost touches the sky, is no bar, is no obstacle to stop the foreign spirits, that is the foreign men, all these foreign men they who are very much eager to see fair Portia, to stop the foreign spirits, but they come as over a brook to see fair Portia. Even the most dangerous sea that has high tide and waves that almost touches the sky, even such kind of terribly dangerous sea has now is now being traveled by the foreign men, like as if they were crossing a small stream. And they do dare, and all these people, all these men from all the corners of the world, they dare to come across such dangerous path. They dare to take such dangerous path only to see fair Portia. So he's trying to he's trying to justify what the gold casket justify the inscription inscribed on the golden casket. So then he says, so one of these three contains, yes, one of these three contains her heavenly picture. Is it like that lead contains her? So now he starts speculating the overall, he starts making an overall speculation of all the three caskets, and he says one of these three contains Portia's portrait. Is it likely that the lead casket might contain her picture? It were damnation, it were damnable, a punishable crime, a sin, to even think, to think so base a thought, to think so low a thoughts, to have such a lowly thought, it were too gross to rib. To rib means to enclose her ciri cloth, So what he's saying is that, such a precious person like Portia, such a precious person like Portia, her portrait, how could her portrait be in in the casket which is made up of such a cheap metal like lead? And to even think of it, that it might contain is a sin. It is it is damnation. So, and that lead casket does not even deserve to carry her ciri cloth. Ciri cloth means a cloth that it is actually a shroud that is used to wrap a dead body, So even that kind of a cloth does not cloth of Portia does not deserve to be put in that lead casket because it's so lowly. Then, or shall I think in silver she's immured? Immured means locked up. Or should I think that she's locked up in the silver casket, being 10 times undervalued to tried gold? Then again, he becomes quite judgmental when it comes to silver casket. He says, even the silver casket is 10 times undervalued, carries less value, 10 times lesser value than that of gold. Oh, sinful thought. So he's saying that it's a sinful thought to even think that her picture could even be contained in a silver casket. Never so rich a gem was set in worse than gold. So such a rich gem like Portia could never be held, could never be locked up in any other casket but in gold, because it is the most precious metal. Then he makes mention of a coin produced in England. He says, they have in England a coin that bears the figure of an angel. This angel was actually the angel of St. Michael, the angel. So archangel. Angel stamped in gold, but that's insculpt, but out here also he makes comparison between that angel, that is St. Michael, whose picture has been inscribed, whose picture has been stamped on one side of the coin that was produced in England. But here is an angel, and this angel is referred to Portia. In a golden bed lies all within. And here also he makes comparison, he refers to the coin, the gold coin, in which on one side an angel has been inscribed, but he says even that angel has been inscribed on the outside of the coin, on one side of the coin. But when it comes to this angel, this precious angel like Portia, she's such precious being that she's now enclosed inside the golden casket, the bed of gold. She's been covered in a golden casket. So that precious she is, that is what he means out here. Then lies all within. Deliver me the key. Here do I choose and thrive I as I may. So he finally decides to choose the gold casket and demands for the key. Then Portia, there, take it, prince. And if my form lie there, my form means my picture lie there, then I am yours. So till now, Portia is totally unaware which casket carries her picture. So you can well imagine the kind of anxiety and apprehension, the kind of tension that was looming large in that, in the environment out there, in the atmosphere out there. Then he unlocks the golden casket and Morocco says, oh hell, what have we here? A carrion's death. So inside that golden casket, it did not contain any portrait of Portia, but it had a skull, within whose empty eyes the socket there is a written scroll. I'll read the reading. So there was a scroll inside it. So I'll read the writing. All that glisters is not gold. Often have you heard that told. Many a man his life had sold, but my outside too behind. So in the very first 4 lines, the inscription, the words inscribed in that scroll, it says that all that glitters is not gold. All that shines is not gold. So The scroll is mocking Morocco. Often have you heard that told, and often you have heard this saying that all that glitters is not gold. And many men they have sold, they have sold everything of theirs by being deceived. After being deceived by the exterior beauty of things, but my outside too behind. Gilded tombs do worm enfold, had you been as wise as bold. So, even the tombs that are made up of gold, it looks beautiful on the outside, but what it has on the inside is nothing but the remains of the dead body and worms. So, one should not, so what it means is people, they tend to get deceived by the exterior beauty. Had you been as wise as bold, had you been wise as just as how bold you are, and young in limbs in judgment old, and had you been sound in terms of making judgment, just as how strong you are in your body, your answer had not been inscrolled. Probably if you had been wise, the answer that you were trying to seek would not have been in this scroll. So you have failed. That means fare you well. If you have failed, fare you well. Your suit is scored, means your efforts to win love has failed. Gold indeed, and labor lost. So Morocco says, gold indeed and labor lost. Yes, this is gold indeed. Obviously, this is gold, but I have lost all my efforts. Then farewell heat. Farewell heat means fervent, and welcome frost. Frost means cold disappointment. So now he has lost his love, and now his fervent love has been replaced by extreme disappointment. Then Portia, adieu, I too grieved a heart, and to take a tedious leave. Tedious leave means a formal leave. Thus losers part. Losers part, that is depart. Losers part means depart. So Portia says that she too is sad to bid a formal farewell to him, and so since he has failed, as per the condition, a loser must depart immediately. Exit with his train, flourish of cornet. So the prince, he immediately leaves. Devastated, he leaves. The Prince of Morocco, he leaves. So then Portia, a gentle riddance means, so Portia is so relieved in having discovered that the gold casket does not carry her portrait and that he has failed. And she says, we are well rid a gentle riddance means we are well rid of him. Draw the curtain, go, let all of his complexion, draw the curtain, and now let's go. She is very happy, she is very relieved. Let all of his complexion choose me so. Let all those suitors who carry a disposition like her, who has a nature like him, let all of them fail just as he has failed. And then they move ahead and they exit. And with this, we complete Act 2, Scene 7. And this is a very wonderful scene where where they have shown very colorful and theatrical aspect out here. And this is for the first time that Morocco is the first suitor who has made a choice of casket. He has dared to do it, in fact, while the former suitors that we see in Act 1, Scene 2, all of them, they left, for they did not like the very challenging procedure of our late father's choice of lottery system through which they were supposed to win her. So with this, we complete this scene. Thank you very much, my dear children.